there has been a lot of talk about an email address that showed up in the document dump last week called Wi-Fi Army Owns at yahoo.com. And of course, as I call them, the usual nuts are trying to tie that email address to Brent Kopaka. But there is no indication that it's tied to Kopaka, and it would not be coming up under a search of Brian Kohberger's emails and account histories if it was somebody else's email. But it's interesting what I found, because there is a person on Patreon who was digging into this case and discovered this email tied to Brian Kohberger back in March of this year. So well before any of these documents got released by the defense. So he goes under the name The Skip Tracer on Patreon. And he states he's just publishing what he found with information below. I make no guarantee that anything is accurate. Please use your own judgment. I've been passively following the Idaho murder case and was curious to what was not being published by the news concerning Brian Kohberger. I decided to investigate by running a breach search. So he found in this breach search that Wi-Fi Army Owns listed under Brian Kohberger, and you can see it was used for Tumblr and other accounts. Now, a couple of those accounts it was used for were gaming accounts, and that brings up what I think is where the username came from. Back in 2007, they announced the first Google Android game, which is called Wi-Fi Army. And this gives a little insight into the game. It says the basic setup sees you search for players when you're out and about, and if your phone detects anyone with an Android handset that is running Wi-Fi Army within a 300-foot radius, you can invite them to the game. This description likens it to a kind of laser tag meets assassin scenario. It's a first-person shooter game that sees players meeting on the streets. They use their mobile phone cameras to shoot each other, earning points. Okay, so when that game came out, he would have been about 17 years old. So that makes sense that he would have picked the name of a game he was playing to be an email. Typical of gamer teenage boys. So I am confident in saying that that email address has nothing to do with Brent Kopaka and has everything to do with him playing a phone game. But let me know what you think.